The room fell into a tense, suffocating silence as the massive screen flickered again and went dark, confirming what everyone already feared. 15 highly paid engineers had tried, failed, and walked away in frustration, leaving behind a system error that threatened to shut down an entire division of a billion-dollar company in California. Deadlines were collapsing, investors were watching closely, and the CEO's reputation hung by a thread. And standing quietly in the corner, unnoticed and invisible to most of the room, was a nanny holding a half-finished juice box, about to change everything in less than 30 seconds. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that talent can come from the most unexpected places, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. Her name was Grace Thompson, a 29-year-old nanny who worked long hours caring for the CEO's young son, Noah, while trying to keep her own life from unraveling. Grace had moved to the United States from a small Midwest town years earlier, carrying dreams that slowly faded under the weight of rent, student debt, and responsibilities she never planned for. Once a gifted computer science student, she had dropped out after her parents passed away, choosing survival over ambition. To the executives in that glass-walled conference room, she was just background staff, someone paid to stay quiet and out of the way. The company headquarters buzzed with stress that afternoon. Engineers in tailored shirts and expensive watches debated theories, rewrote code, and blamed outdated systems, but nothing worked. The failure wasn't just technical, it was symbolic. The software powered hospital scheduling systems across multiple states, and every minute offline risked real-world consequences. CEO Andrew Caldwell stood rigid near the head of the table, exhaustion etched into his face. He had trusted the best minds money could buy, and now all of them had come up empty. Grace stood near the doorway, gently rocking Noah as she watched the screen flicker. She wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but her eyes followed the error messages out of instinct. Patterns jumped out at her the way they always had. The problem wasn't complex. It was overlooked. Her heart began to pound as recognition set in. Years ago, she had solved a nearly identical issue during a university competition, back when people listened to her ideas and believed she belonged in rooms like this. She hesitated. Grace knew how the world worked. Nannies didn't interrupt engineers. Women with worn shoes and quiet voices weren't invited into billion-dollar conversations. She told herself to stay silent, to finish her shift, to go home. But then she glanced at Noah, who trusted her completely, and something shifted inside her. She took a breath and stepped forward, her voice barely cutting through the tension in the room. In less than 30 seconds, Grace pointed to a specific line of logic on the screen and explained the flaw with calm clarity. The room froze. Engineers stared. Andrew turned slowly, disbelief crossing his face. One of the senior developers tested the fix immediately, fingers flying across the keyboard. The screen refreshed. The system stabilized. Data began flowing normally again. 15 engineers fell silent as the truth settled heavily in the room. Grace stood there, heart racing, waiting for embarrassment or dismissal. Instead, she watched shock turn into curiosity, then respect. Andrew studied her not as a nanny, but as a mind he had almost overlooked. In that moment, he realized something deeply unsettling about leadership, intelligence, and the way talent is often hidden behind job titles and assumptions. The days that followed changed Grace's life in ways she never imagined. Andrew didn't just thank her. He asked questions. He learned about her past, her education, and the choices that forced her onto a different path. He saw not charity, but potential. Grace was offered a paid position in the company's development team, full training support, and flexibility so she could continue caring for Noah during the transition. For the first time in years, she felt seen for who she truly was, not what circumstances had reduced her to. Grace struggled with doubt at first. Walking into meetings as a former nanny among seasoned engineers wasn't easy. Imposter syndrome crept in. Old fears resurfaced. But every time she solved a problem or contributed an idea, confidence replaced fear. She worked harder than ever, not to prove herself to others, but to reclaim the part of herself she thought she had lost forever. Andrew changed too. He began re-evaluating how his company hired, listened, and valued people. He implemented blind skill assessments, mentorship programs, and pathways for overlooked workers within the organization. What started as a technical failure became a cultural awakening. Productivity rose, morale shifted, and the company's reputation quietly transformed. Months later, Grace walked through the same building with her head held higher, no longer invisible. She wasn't defined by her past job title, but by her resilience and brilliance. Noah watched her with pride, unaware that his nanny had sparked a change that would ripple far beyond one company. If this story touched your heart, reminded you of your own hidden potential, or inspired you to look differently at the people around you, please like, comment, and share this video so others can feel it too. Before the ending, I want to ask you something important. Comment below and tell us, have you ever seen someone underestimated who deserved a chance? Grace never forgot where she came from, and Andrew never forgot the day 15 experts failed while one overlooked soul succeeded. Together, they proved that sometimes the greatest solutions don't come from status or titles, but from courage, compassion, and the willingness to listen. And in a world that often overlooks quiet strength, one small moment of belief can change everything.